In 1982, Data East released their simple arcade game BurgerTime, in which Peter Pepper ran over parts of hamburgers to drop each layer towards a serving platter at the bottom of 6 different screens. In the original, Peter dealt with 3 enemies, Mr. Hot Dog, Mr. Pickle, and Mr. Egg. Peter could stun enemies with a pepper shaker or use them as ingredients by stacking a layer on top of them. Players competed for high scores, and in 2008, the high score of 11,512,500 points was set in the arcades by Brian L. Wagner. Now, MonkeyPaw Games has launched BurgerTime World Tour for the Xbox Live Arcade and plans to port the title to the PlayStation Network and WiiWare. After having a chance to explore the game, I can now tell you why this is the model that remakes should follow. BurgerTime World Tour never needed a story back in the early 80s. See, back then a game could be fun without having a reason. Unfortunately, today's gamer needs an excuse to have fun. So, for World Tour, Peter Pepper learns that 4 chefs across as many worlds are turning to self-promotion and gimmicks to sell their burgers. Peter believes the only special ingredient on a burger should be pepper, so he travels through each world to stop the chef and return simplicity to the gimmicky world of burgers. This story is told through cutscenes, the worst and most repetitive of which always showing Peter on a plane, reading a newspaper, usually 4 stages into a world. The newspaper is the only thing changing in these cutscenes, so they get really irritating. However, new enemies and bosses are also introduced through these pre-stage cutscenes, and a fun cutscene plays after defeating each boss. Fans of the original will be put off by the story, but they do not necessarily hurt the game. While I'm aware that other BurgerTime sequels and spin-offs exist, I only played the original arcade. Therefore, when comparing World Tour to the original, the game certainly has grown up. From 6 stages and 3 enemies to 4 multi-level worlds with 6 enemies, World Tour has plenty to offer. In the original, the multi-platform levels were on one screen and the ladders were the only way to go up or down. Now, stages are set up on 3D cylinders with multiple platform materials and hazards. Each world has 3 or 4 backgrounds, so the game never looks repetitive. Each new enemy type and boss is introduced with a cutscene that keeps the same in-game design with different camera angles. The game's look is certainly cartoony, but BurgerTime was never meant to be dark and gritty. There are some graphical issues, characters do not always look good and sometimes screen tear into themselves. Also, the game has some invisible walls. If an area is off limits, players must be able to see a barrier before leaping rather than being surprised. Still, the game's visual style works and is a major, yet respectful, improvement to the original. World Tour maintains the formula of BurgerTime with a few upgrades. Players run over ingredients to build burgers and use pepper to stop enemies. They can capture foes in the falling burger ingredients for score multipliers and specialty burgers. The game is a 2D platformer set in cylindrical 3D stages, and players will discover new paths to their ingredients as they work for a higher score. World Tour offers 2 new tricks from the original: jumping and power-ups. Players are no longer forced to use and get caught on ladders, and the jump mechanic offers a new way to escape foes. However, pepper and jumping are not the only tools at Peter's disposal. The game features several power-ups to help in the fight. Spatulas give players a tornado attack, soda brings temporary super speed and invincibility, hot sauce clears an area of enemies, and on and on. However, don't think these elements ruin the game by making it too easy. World Tour maintains the difficulty of the original by bringing new challenges. Most enemies can climb ladders and chase Peter at length. Pickles jump as high as Peter and can only be stopped with pepper or a power-up. Eggs charge if they see the player. Habaneros explode when stunned, and carrots can drill through platforms to ambush from above. The stages themselves are traps with breaking platforms, fire, slippery ice, and drills. It all makes for a hectic but fun, arcade-like experience. At the end of each stage, scores are based on speed and burger combinations. Faster times get bonus points, and specialty burgers offer better multipliers. While players have a limited number of lives, a game over only forces players to restart the stage rather than going back to the beginning of the world. The game offers 4 bosses with 2 different styles. In either style of boss, players build burgers to blow up a burger-making machine or bring down a giant. While repetitive, it does offer an interesting challenge. but most players will find the third and fourth boss as more of a nuisance than anything else. The game offers local and online multiplayer for chaotic fun, but the maps get repetitive and encourage bottom floor camping. The race maps are the only fair challenge in the multiplayer experience, but I would have liked to see more of them. World Tour maintains its arcade challenge and feel. Fans of BurgerTime will enjoy the nostalgia, and newcomers will love the challenge. The game begins with a remixed version of the original music. Like all elements of the game, something classic has been updated, but there's still enough of the old in it to remind gamers of the past. During the stages, music reflects the worlds, and the victory music at the end can't help but make the players smile. The sound effects are fitting and fun. However, during my playthrough, the background music stopped on the third world. Fortunately, the game is so fun that I didn't notice until reviewing the footage of the game. When I was a child in the arcades, I would pull out my Walkman tape player, put some wire headphones on, and blast Europe's The Final Countdown while playing games. With World Tour, though, players should turn up their speakers and enjoy the music and sound effects. BurgerTime World Tour is a fantastic remake of a classic game. There's just enough new elements to make the experience fresh, but the game respects its roots. With so many terrible remakes this year, it's nice to see someone revive a franchise the right way. For gamers ready for old school challenge with a new school look, this is the game to play.